Ladies and gentlemen, the October AFC qualifying window has come to a close, and we are back on Deadball TV to talk about the biggest winners and losers from that window. We're talking players, teams, whatever it may be. Let us know your biggest winners and losers down below in the comments. And I'm joined once again by Michael Talks Football, Deadball TV Asian correspondent. Guys, also in the comments, please wish Michael a happy birthday. It is his birthday today, and he is taking the time still
Thank you,
to
guys.
jump on this finished YouTube channel and talk about Asian ball with me. So I really appreciate that. Michael, thank you for being back. I'm going to take the first winner. We'll do winners first, losers second. The timestamps will be in the description of the video. I'm going to say South Korea. Big winner from this window. And I had an interesting discussion with my friend Albert Kim. You can find that on the channel about whether or not South Korea are underperforming or overperforming in this window so far. But me as an outsider, I look at what they did, beating Jordan 2-0 away in Amman, which is not an easy thing to do. And then beating Iraq 3-2 at home. Really, I mean, Iraq had a late goal. Both games were pretty comfortable for South Korea. They did so without Lee Gang-in really contributing at all. Son Heung-min was obviously injured. He wasn't called up to the squad. And you had a bunch of young guys, Jung Kobe, stepping up, getting assists, scoring goals. I thought it was big for Korea to assert that they are still the top dog in Group B and still one of the top three teams in Asia.
No, I would agree. And also, Hwang Hee-chan got injured. So you're so basically two of the top three forwards of South Korea got injured, and they still won both games. Got 6 points out of a team that made the Asian Cup final and a team that should have really made it to the Asian Cup final, in my opinion, as well, in Iraq. So I think it was a great, I think it was a great window for them. And you know, some people are just, I think, negative with South Korea nowadays. We've gotten past Jurgen Klinsmann. Forget it, people. Klinsmann is long gone. Right? The KFA, for them, they're always going to be losers for how they've handled the hiring situation of the new manager. But South Korea are actually playing good football. I've got to be honest, they're playing good football, organized a little bit more. Defensively, you can see there's still a little bit of frailties with the side, but they are gelling as a team. It's not so much about, all right, let's just give the ball to one of our star players and see what he does, right? We're just going to do ISO ball all the time. No. It's a bit more patterns of play. And I'm actually enjoying watching South Korea. I think they are by far the biggest winner of this window.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think if you're looking at just performance, like wins are cool, right? We'll get to Uzbekistan maybe at some point. Wins are cool, but if it's ugly, it kind of leaves something to be desired. Neither of these games were ugly. I think I said comfortable. It was kind of comfortable for South Korea. And I do think we need to acknowledge that sometimes the bad vibes and the bad juju about how people feel about the KFA and Hung Mung-bo, the manager, and like, oh my gosh, his appointment was like fraudulent and all this. I think this sometimes clouds the Korean fan base and they see it through that lens. And I understand why they do. But just from like a pure objective, how was the football? Where does South Korea stack up in the current Asian power rankings? And what were the caliber of teams that they took down? It was a good window. And like, I got to shout out Hwang In-bom specifically. I think there was a lot of criticism. Dude, during the Asian Cup, I remember, and I was kind of one of these people, one of the haters. But dude, he was getting shredded alive by the Korean media. Oh, he's overrated. This is why, he shouldn't be starting. This is why he's not at a bigger European club. He's not that good. Had nothing to do with the fact that Jurgen Klinsmann was playing one midfielder every single game. Nothing to do at all with that. And he was first on the team in chances created this window. You had 2 assists from Jung Kobe, who looks like the truth. 21-year-old winger, looks like the truth. And 2 goals from Lee Sung. I mean, it was a well-rounded effort from Korea. Massive dub.
Massive dub. All right, let's continue with the positive vibes here. A guy who I thought, I'm going to go with the individual player here. A guy who I was super critical at the Asian Cup. But you know what? The last year, he has really improved massively. And that is Zion Suzuki of Japan. I am shocked at how well he has performed ever since he made that move to Parma. And I think going to a higher level actually really helped him basically getting the confidence and playing up against elite competition, AC Milan, Fiorentina, Napoli, and all these sides. Zion Suzuki, even though he got the red card against Napoli, I'm like, now this guy looks more commanding. Now he looks like a leader. Now he has presence within the defensive line. And some of the saves he made against Saudi Arabia, I'm like, no, I did not see this. And now he's looking even more controlling with crosses. That was the biggest thing at the Asian Cup. This guy looked like he was a deer in headlights with crosses into the box or set pieces. Now he is much more commanding, and I think Japan need this. They need a goalkeeper that breeds confidence into all the defenders, and Zion Suzuki is doing that, and I think he's a big winner in this window. Even though, yes, they conceded a goal, that's not his fault. Deflection.
No, there is. First off, it's the worst own goal I've seen in a long time from Shogo Taniguchi. Like, do you understand? I'm not a scientist, Michael. I'm not a scientist. Physics, I don't really understand it. Okay, but I'm just confused how the ball hit his shin and then still kept going this way and looped over Zion Suzuki. It was
ridiculous.
I did a live stream for this. Y'all hit subscribe because I do live streams every single AFC window. I was laughing on the stream. I was like, nah, like I hope the media doesn't take this as like Australian masterclass, because Australia were very strong, but it was a freak own goal. And that save that Suzuki had on, I think it was Yaya from Saudi Arabia. You know the one I'm talking about. It was like
he was it was on the right side of Saudi Arabia, and there was a shot to the top left corner. Oh my god, what a save! But do you agree with me? Because I don't know how critical you were of him of the Asian Cup, but I was like, this guy might be a fraud. And he might be young, and I don't care, people, but he was looking so just out of depth. And that's at the Asian Cup against Vietnam. But now, Zion, kudos to you, man. Do you think he's improved massively?
Yeah, I've seen, dude, this is so funny. I have been watching more Serie A this year than I usually do, and I'm somewhat ashamed to admit it's to watch Zion Suzuki a lot of the times. And I think he's been pretty solid. Like, yeah, he has gotten red cards and there have been bad moments, but he's also had some pretty good games. I was more critical of Moriyasu putting a 20-year-old in charge of the goalkeeping position for the runaway favorites for a tournament when he basically was a U23 guy before that. I think that was more Moriyasu being a little unfair and a little ignorant in that tournament. But I think I tweeted it. Zion Suzuki redemption arc. We're in chapter 3, baby. Fully underway. Yep, new episode of the manga coming out next week. A winner for me. I'm just gonna say the Giants in Group A. Iran and Uzbekistan. More so Iran, but I think already at match day 4, these two teams have pretty much got it locked up, dude. Let's not talk about performance. I know some Iranians have been displeased with how they've played at times, which, let's be honest, the Iranians are never happy. And the Uzbeks have looked flat for several halves of football during this qualifying cycle, but both of them have 10 points after 4, 6-point gap, and barring, a absolute disaster, like, I don't know, like a sinkhole opening up in Tashkent and swallowing the home stadium and forcing Uzbekistan to play every game in Myanmar, I think both of these boys are already clear to the 2026 World Cup.
Yeah, I think it's done. It's only been 4 games, but it might be done because Qatar and UAE, they ain't got no chance of catching these guys. No chance. It would. Okay, if one of these two teams bottled it, which team would it be?
Uzbekistan.
Yeah, that's a clear answer because Iran got the experience. Uzbekistan, maybe when they sort of see that visa to America, they might get a little bit, nervous. Do we really got it, guys? Do we really got it? Okay, we got it now. Okay, I think they might just have some fearfulness in their play, but yeah, these two guys, they haven't been impressive, but I still think they're going to qualify. I just want to see Uzbekistan at the World Cup. That's been my dream. First off, we need to get the kits. Me and Jack have been asking for the kits for God knows how long now. We still can't get them.
Bro.
Maybe we'll get them in Houston, Texas, or wherever Dallas, Texas, wherever the World Cup will be. I cannot wait. But yeah, not been the best of football from these two sides, even though Iran were super impressive against Qatar and they got somewhat redemption, even though you can never redeem about losing in a major competition semifinal. But yeah, they've been quite solid, both teams.
If we have any Uzbeks watching this video, we plead to you once again, please let us know how we can get an Uzbek jersey. I will pay $35 international shipping. I do not care. Whatever I need to do to get that parcel from Tashkent to Buenos Aires, which that journey has never been made before. I'm not even sure if
I'm
the
close.
Uzbek delivery man.
I'm closer. I'm Barcelona. It's cheaper here.
Yeah, they can deliver it to you via like horse and buggy, but to me, they got to put it on a barco or something. I mean, just help us out, please. DM us, Twitter, Instagram, get us the Uzbek kid. This is getting ridiculous. Real quick, before we move on, more impressive so far, despite both being on 10 points, Iran or Uzbekistan for you?
Iran. Because I have, honestly, even though Uzbekistan, and I tweeted this out, even though Uzbekistan got 10 points, I haven't been impressed. I was more impressed at the Asian Cup when they were missing guys like Smordov. I was like, how are they doing this? They're still playing good football. But now I'm like, it just seems a little bit flat. I just wonder if it's just all the pressure about qualifying to the World Cup for the first time ever is getting to the players. Obviously, Katanic wasn't on the sideline for these two games, and we can hopefully he gets better with his illness that is happening right now. But I just haven't been impressed by Uzbekistan. But I did tweet this out as well. They would have lost these sort of games in the past. These are the games where they would have dropped points and not qualified to the World Cup.
No, you're 100% correct about that. I will also say Iran. I think Iran have had a way harder schedule as well. And to the Iranians, man, they're looking relatively unscathed during these games. I mean, you could argue Kyrgyzstan gave them the biggest scare. But against Qatar, UAE, they were in control. They somehow looked better against Uzbekistan when they went down a man. Ezra Talaki was a menace in that game. Iran looks very, very strong. You got any other winners before we take it on the losers? I know we're on the shot clock here.
One more winner quickly. China. They got to win. Honestly, thought they were going to lose every game. I honestly thought they were going to lose every game. They were so bad these first three games. Even the craziest thing is the last three games they've taken the lead. That's the craziest part with China.
Oh my God, they have.
Yeah, they
have.
They
take the lead against Australia. You're right.
And Saudi Arabia. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, they took the lead against Indonesia. I was like, don't do this again to yourselves. They have an amazing home support. Like the atmosphere in China is ridiculous. It just shows you they're very passionate about football. But finally, they got the win. Abdueli, shout out to him. He's only 21, 22 years old, but he's a baller. Finally, they got a replacement for Wule. Even though Wule obviously played in La Liga and did very well for the Chinese national team, Abdueli looks good. So China at least got some positives. That's what they need. They needed some positives with this federation and this national team because every window, it just seems like they were taking massive L after massive L. And I think they're a big winner simply because they won.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because we do need to put a little bit of respect on China. I mean, we had some positive words to say last time complimenting their fire red kits, which they look even better when they win. I must say, the red looks even nicer when they win. Now, we're not saying the Ming Dynasty is back, but to play devil's advocate and to protect my Chinese subscribers for a little bit, you could say at parts of this qualifying, they've gotten a little unlucky as well. Like the Saudi Arabia thing, how often do you concede a brace to a center back? Like that's...
Remember, they should have won that game against Saudi Arabia because they were up against 10 men.
Yes. And they missed so many. I think they had 18 shots, 2 on target. Like they just couldn't hit the broadside of a barn against Australia. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If they got a result away, then they might have had to have sacked Tony Popovich, even though they just appointed him. Maybe they're not as finished as we thought. Maybe there's a sign of life. I guarantee you. I think I said this in my prediction. China away, probably going to lose every game. But China at home, they always get results in qualifying. They might lose, but they're going to lose 3-2 against Saudi Arabia. They're going to lose 2-1 against Australia. They might even draw Australia. So every home game, they have a chance. That home match against Bahrain, China winning. Calling it now. Let's move on to the losers. And I'm going to take one and be...
Can I start?
Please start. Actually,
I need to start with this. I'm sorry.
Get it off your chest. Get it off your chest. Man.
I need to get... First off, I'm going by names as well. The whole Qatari defense. Actually, no. The 2 center backs and the goalkeeper, Kuki, Lucas Mendes, and Bashram. You guys are absolutely pathetic right now. Some of the defending and some of the goals conceding by Qatar, this is like Liechtenstein level. This is Brunei level. This is
Oh no.
Myanmar level. This is Maldives level. I mean, the defending
Mm,
is so bad, and Barsham, the goalkeeper, looks like a fish out of water. They look just
dude.
disorganized. Yes, you could say maybe coaching wise, but the defending from Lucas Mendes, especially, I can't remember which goal was against Iran. It might be in the third or second goal. He pushes up and presses into the midfield. I'm at Lucas Mendes. You were great at the Asian Cup. Now you've just gone crazy. I don't know what you've been smoking, what you've been drinking, or what sort of tea you've been having, but the Qatari defense consistently now, each window will be losers until they can rectify and get back to the Asian Cup form. Because right now, well, they ain't gonna do nothing with that defense. And that defense is hurting this team. Without that, if the defense was good, maybe they would have a better chance because they got two elite players in Akram Afif and Almoez Ali. But the defense is just hurting them big time right now.
Yeah, I think when you look at Qatar, Almoz Ali and Akram Afif continue to be ballers. I mean, Akram Afif is top 5 players in Asia. I do not care what anybody says. Almoz Ali, he's just like the perfect Robin, dude. Like the perfect complement to Akram Afif. If you take Akram off, Almoz Ali is not as good as he is. But you have to give him credit with the pieces that he has around him. He makes do, like he doesn't get a ton of like service every single game, but when he does, he converts at a pretty high clip. Take those two players and put them aside. I am very excited for the Netflix documentary in 20 years where we find out that the Qatari team was on PEDs for the Asian Cup because Barsham was actually quite good the entire Asian Cup. He had one howler the whole tournament. And now he's been bad the entire round. He was awful against North Korea. He was not very good against Kyrgyzstan. He was abysmal against Iran. What Lucas Mendes was borderline team of the tournament, and I thought he was a fraud, and now he's become a fraud again. Qatar, I think the manager's panicking. They're starting like Mohammed Waz been dropped. They're starting Boualim Kuki, like you said, as a CB. They're rotating. They're trying to find an answer here, and it's just not working. Like, can you say Qatar massive losers? Or are we highlighting just
just the defense?
Backline and goalkeeper.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do you know how many goals they've conceded in 4 games?
7?
10.
No, there hasn't been 10.
10 goals
what?
Already. Yep.
Oh, that's
10 goals in 4 games.
Yeah. Okay, massive L, bro. Massive
it's
L.
Horrendous.
I think their best game has been Kyrgyzstan. Like they were actually quite good. I think I tweeted the crazy stat: Akram Afif, 11 chances created in the Kyrgyzstan game.
11. Holy shit.
11, which at the time, after match day 3, was more than Iraq, Palestine, Kuwait, China, Bahrain, and Indonesia. Akram Afif by himself.
Yo, Akram Afif needs to get a Chile passport immediately.
Dude, we need the Akram Afif one-time switch to Saudi Arabia. That's who could need him. And that's my loser. That's my first loser is Saudi Arabia. And gosh, man, like it's not even fun anymore for me to say this. Like Roberto Mancini needs to go. He needs to go now. But the fact that the Saudis have played 3 games at home and they have 0 wins in qualifying, dude, the King Abdullah used to be the scariest fixture in Asian football. I mean, it was either that or playing in Tehran, or maybe you could say Basra for Iraq. Those were like the bastions of Asian football. Like nobody wanted the smoke in Riyadh. And now everyone's saying, pass me the hookah. Everybody's going in there and getting a point. Bahrain arguably could have gotten the dub in this game. That's the worst part. You got Salem Al-Dasari, who's looking sorry.
I'm done.
2 penalty misses, bro. I'm done too. I'm selling my stock. And his fake ass brother, Nasser, awful cameo against Bahrain. He was so bad that I thought the substitution Mancini should have been sacked in the 75th minute. You got Mohamed Kano. I mean, they need that guy back ASAP. Musab Al-Jawer, I'm going to say, is their one hope in qualifying right now. I think they have a decent back line. I think Altan Bakhti's still doing his thing. Ali Lajami still got a mistake in him every single game, but I just cannot believe how pedestrian this team has gotten. They still do not have one single good win under Mancini in 15, 16 games. Shocking.
I might have bought the kit, and maybe after I buy the kit, they might find some mojo, and they might sack Mancini. And there's obviously been the rumors that he will get sacked, and they might get Renard. They have to do it. If they do not sack him now, they're not going to get second place in this group. They will not get top 2. And if they keep Mancini at the end of this qualifiers, are we even guaranteeing them to get 5th place in this group? I mean, 3rd or 4th place in this group? Based on the way Bahrain are playing, maybe China finds some mojo, maybe Indonesia with all their new players, and they'll get new players and new players each window. Like Saudi Arabia, and that is a great point you made as well. It used to be a tough venue to go to. It's like the La Bombonera of Asian football. You go there, you're going to face a hostile environment, you're going to lose the game. Now, it's Old Trafford. Every away team, come. Everybody's having a party. Maybe the roof is leaking in Saudi Arabia if it rains someday. That's what's happening now at the King Abdullah Stadium. So, yeah, Saudi Arabia are just, you know what they remind me of? They remind me of Ghana. Both of the national teams, they have the promise.
R.I.P.
Oh, R.I.P. to my Ghanaian brothers. But the national team, they have the quality. You can see it. But tactically, and maybe it's the federation as well, are effing it up big time. And Saudi Arabia got to soon push the panic button. Not just yet, but soon.
You've been critical of the Saudi squad, and I have as well, but would you agree that they're not playing up to the capacity of this team?
Oh, no, 100%. With that quality, you should be beating Bahrain 2-0. I'm sorry. I don't care how tough Bahrain are. You're at home with the environment. But Salim Al-Dasari, I'm done. I'm done. I said this last window when we were doing biggest. It's time. You got to drop him, or he needs to retire. Somebody just needs to force him into retirement or something, because he is 2 penalty misses in 4 games. If he takes the next penalty, screw it. There's no point anymore with this national team. And if he's going to keep taking the penalty, so it's sad. I feel like Saudi, they have the quality. The league is obviously doing crazy work with all the new players they got, but the national team, it seems to be getting worse since all these new players have gotten in.
It is getting worse, dude. I heard a crazy stat that I had to fact check when I was watching Saudi Arabia, Japan. By the way, the first time Japan has ever beaten Saudi Arabia away. So if that's not a good indicator of what the King Abdullah has become, I mean, yeah, it's the candy shop now. It's ridiculous. Al Tambakti, the announcers were talking about, he only has 5 games this season in the Saudi Pro League, and this is your best center back. And he's not even getting minutes. I think he's at Al Hilal. I don't remember the club. But he's barely getting any minutes. And this is something Mancini has highlighted, and I think he's right to highlight, that his players, I mean, they don't play ball until they come to the national team. And I think that's why you see Saudi Arabia look so rusty. Like, we are seeing the investment in Saudi club football genuinely destroy the national team. The money in Saudi Arabia has corrupted the system. Not only have you pushed all of your players on the bench because they're not good enough to start over some of these foreigners, you went after the wrong shiny object and you appointed Mancini, who never cared to begin with. The money is killing them. They're a victim of their own oil, their own coffers.
So they're Venezuela.
They're Venezuela. Dude, to play devil's advocate very quickly before we move on, which, by the way, I bought myself an extra 10 minutes.
Cool.
If Salim Al-Dasari makes those 2 penalties and they beat Indonesia and they beat Bahrain, there are 9 points and they're right behind Japan. So
what more do you want me to say then? Like this, yes, we could blame Mancini.
Somebody else has got to take them.
Somebody else has got to take them, of course. But that's my point of view, is that we can all blame Mancini, and he's the highest paid manager in the world, and he's cussing out the fans at the end of the game against Bahrain. But these players are not stepping up. I'm sorry. And he made a great point. You can always blame the manager. Always blame the manager. What about these players? What about Al-Dasari? Where's the smoke for him? No. Oh, let's just blame Mancini because he's the foreigner of this team. They just want Renard back. They just want Daddy.
Mm-hmm. It's lazy to just point the finger at Mancini, even though I think some of his decisions have been bad. But I wanted to bring that up before we move on to the next loser, because any Saudis watching, like, y'all are not cooked. There is stuff here. There are toys to play with. You just got to get somebody else in. Why don't you drop the next loser, Michael?
I don't know which one to go with, actually, because I was gonna go with Salim Al Dosari. That was gonna be my just an individual player, just him. But I think we've done enough cooking for him.
We've cooked him. He's on the
Do I have
kebab
any more?
already. Yeah,
I don't think I have any more losers, actually. I think that's it for me. I think it's been a positive window.
I got
Do you
one.
have any more? Go ahead.
You want me? I got my hating hat on right now. I'm going Palestine, bro.
Oh, you're really hating now. Oh,
I'm hating, bro. I'm hating. They're guessing my political affiliation right now. Like, here's how I see Palestine, bro. In the Iraq game, they really could have gotten a draw there. I got a crazy stat for you. Drop a like in the video for these crazy stats. How many chances do you think Iraq had in their 1-0 victory at home against Palestine?
how many chances they created? Probably
Mhm.
5,
As a
10.
team. One chance. And they scored.
And that was just a crossing time and Hussein as well.
Correct. I wanted to bring that up because they were right there, bro. Like, they actually played so well against Iraq. And they
Defensively.
And because of Ayman Hussein being Superman, they end up losing that game. So I think it was a little bit of misfortune there, but there was still an opportunity for Palestine to get a point. And then the Kuwait game, bro, it was a must win. It was a must win. And that's why I have them as a loser, because if they're truly trying to get to round 4, you have to beat Kuwait. And they're better than Kuwait. And they concede a penalty, they go down, then they fight back, they equalize, then they get a red card. It's like they're like shooting themselves in the foot. And then Dubug rescues the game late, and it ends up being a 2-2. But if the aspirations for Palestine are to finish 4th, which they are good enough to finish 4th in Group B, this was a bad window. You needed to beat Kuwait. I think they have Oman and South Korea in the next window. You have to beat Oman. I tweeted this. Palestine need to evolve from the we're getting good draws to winning games. It's kind of like the Bolivia thing in CONMEBOL. If you lose away, it's negated if you win at home. Obviously, Palestine can't play at home, and that's a travesty. But the point is, they gotta find 3 points somewhere in this window. And Kuwait are terrible. They're terrible. They have one guy, Yusuf Nasser. The rest of the team has no quality. And they shot themselves in the foot. And now they're really up against it to qualify. Any thoughts on that?
I don't want to say it's harsh. I can understand the criticism for Palestine because there's so many factors with this national team when it comes to about the players and obviously team cohesion and everything like that. But they had to be they had to be Kuwait at home or neutral venue if you want to go with that, because that's a game like Palestine got quality. Like Dumbug is a very good player. Ali Abu, very good player as striker. He scored the goal from the penalty. Like, I don't know what it is with Palestine, is that they're very much a team that loves the underdog mentality. But now they need to get from that stage to the next stage. So how do you go to that stage? Well, you got to beat Kuwait. They've been competitive. They almost could have beaten South Korea away. That would have been a historical victory for them. I just feel like
Correct.
just the moments, it's just the lack of concentration. Really, it's just they just switch off. I don't know what it is, especially against Kuwait. They created a couple really good chances in the second half. Then obviously they get the red card. Then they switch off and allow Nasir to score. So they're just shooting themselves in the foot, like you said. And is it harsh though? Maybe a little bit, but it wasn't a lot of losers in this window. I'm going to be honest, from the AFC.
Yeah, I'm being harsh, but that's also because I care. And I would like to see them in round 4 because they're good enough to be a round 4 team. And I just look at the window and I'm like, this is a missed opportunity. I mean, they were the better team again, down a man against Kuwait. Like, these guys play when they want to. Maybe it's the concentration piece that you highlighted. Good ball. They do play good ball. But I think about the Iraq game, like, I can't remember who had a header. It's a great save from Jalal. Like, they could have gotten a point there. They could have beat South Korea. Jordan, they lost that game for sure. And Kuwait should have beat them. So it's like, oh, God, we're looking at potentially like 6 points dropped. They could be in 3rd right now, easy. They could be in 3rd tied on points with Iraq.
Yep,
so,
yep, 100%. Then and it's very
because of
doable for them to get
expectations.
fourth place in this group. It's very doable for them still to get fourth place. They're not out of it.
Yeah. No, they got Oman twice. You think they can take 4 from that and then Kuwait one more time?
So they gotta, if they want to get fourth place, they got to get 2 wins out of those 3 opponents, I would say.
I agree. Got a question for you. Indonesia, they big losers this window?
No, because I think they should have won that Bahrain game. And if they won that Bahrain game away, then the narrative would have been they might have been big winners. Let's be honest here. Now, the game away to China, they're just like defensively, they just look like a naive team. They just look like they still are trying to find cohesion. And obviously, they got so many pieces. Every window, there's more. Here we goes. Basically, Indonesia have turned into the Chelsea equivalent of national teams. Todd Bowley might be their football director at this moment, but
he might be Indonesian.
Yes,
yeah.
he might be Indonesian. Yeah, maybe his grandparents or something. But the defensively, they need to be better. But I would expect, with all the talk for this national team, and they got some quality players, you got to at least beat this China team. You have to. And you allow 2 silly goals. The first goal, they don't clear the ball away. The defender switches off, and China just wanted more. And then the second goal, they're just wide open. And wide open. 1 through ball was enough. So would I say they're losers?
Hey, that pass,
perhaps,
though, was world class.
Outside the boot. Oh,
outside, he turned into Luka Modric. Crazy.
Who would have ever thought that with the Chinese player in our lifetime, especially this Chinese national team? But yeah, maybe Indonesia are somewhat losers. But 1 point, even though in this window you could say maybe they could have gotten 3 points. Now, if they had 1 point at home against these 2 opponents, automatic biggest loser.
Okay. Just wanted to ask. I
think they're
made
losers?
A fair point.
Do you think they're losers?
Yes, I think they are. I think the China loss makes them losers. And
Okay.
I think if you look at the Bahrain game, I mean, you're a clearance or a shot away from winning that game as well. I do think it was a fumble. If they're not losers, they fumbled. This is like, I don't know if you saw the Super Bowl Seahawks versus Patriots goal line interception. That's what this is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess Malcolm Butler is shooting Zhang, the Chinese 9.
But I see the narrative would have completely changed had they won Bahrain away. Then we would have said that is the biggest victory in Indonesian football almost last 50 years, something crazy like that, if they won that game.
Yeah, but I'm going to go back to Palestine, dude. It's a game of margins.
Yes.
It's a game of margins. Like, football is so cruel. And I do think it was a humbling for Indonesia. It's like, hey, you guys are definitely on the come up. Like, the team has improved so much in the last year. It's crazy. But you're still not ready. Because if you were, you get out of Rifa with 3. And then to lose to China, now it went from, maybe a coin toss if Indonesia qualified. Now it's back to like 30%. It's kind of what we're looking at here. There's still some big question marks for this team. Last guys I just want to throw out as a nomination for loser. And this one pains me. North Korea, bro. North Korea are the unluckiest team in Asia. They've missed 2 penalties now. If you look at how they played on the pitch, they destroy the UAE. They should have won that game 2-1. Instead, they get the 1-1 draw. You see how they fought valiantly against Qatar. They got the 2-2 in that despite playing in a monsoon with a man down. Great game from them. Uzbekistan, better in the second half, miss a penalty again. Should have gotten out of Tashkent with a point. And then against Kyrgyzstan, it was a wide open, ugly ass game. And I think you could probably say the Kyrgyz were probably deserved winners in that game. I'm comfortable saying that. But if you just look at the body of work for North Korea, the fact they have 2 points is criminal, given how these guys have played. They certainly deserve a win, if not 2 wins. And so that's why I think they're a loser, because going back to the margins, their performance deserves better than what their table status says.
Based on performances, they should have 8 points. But unfortunately, football is not based on performances. They didn't play well against Kyrgyzstan, I thought, away. I thought they were a little bit flat. I feel like they are such a team that rely on just energy levels. Energy levels. We're going to play always at a high tempo, and Kyrgyzstan just made it an ugly game. And they played the Kyrgyzstan game and they lost. And UAE again, they got chances, they created, but they don't convert. They just don't have a clinical striker in their team. Now, if they had a clinical striker, maybe North Korea would have 5 to 6 points. And I will also repeat this. The game against Qatar, they had a wonderful chance at the end of the game, 2-on-1 counterattack, and they fluffed their lines. So we could be talking about maybe 3 wins here for North Korea, but instead they got 2 points. So yeah, I think losing away to Kyrgyzstan is actually a quite big L considering how they've been performing the first 3 games.
It is. I think that's their worst game so far.
Yeah,
Kyrgyzstan
easily.
away. Like Kyrgyzstan, man, it was a great game from Kyrgyzstan. They frustrated them, didn't concede any really good chances. Maybe won the whole game. And North Korea, brother, it's ballistic missile time.
Free kick at the end of the game for Kyrgyzstan that just went a little bit wide, but that's it. Like that's the only chance North Korea created in the game.
Yeah, I mean these guys are deceptively strong from set pieces. It's kind of freaky. But yeah, dude, they could be tied with Iran right now if things had just gone a little differently, which is mental to say. This is a pot 16, bro.
I don't know what to say, man. They're honest. They're the Puskas national team. I love them. They're just hilarious because they play like they actually play like very. They play like very free flowing. They don't care. They just want to attack. They want to score the goals, but they just don't have that sort of clinical edge still. And maybe they just need experience.
I think that's what it is. Like they missed out on a lot of footy through the pandemic, and I think the rest of Group A is quite fortunate for that. So I do have to say North Korea losers just because my boys deserve better. So we'll have to see what they do in the November window. Guys, let us know if there's any winners and losers. We forgot to mention them down below in the comments. Make sure you check out Michael Talks Football. Again, wish him a happy birthday down below in the comments. I will put the link to his Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube down below in the description of this video so you guys can go check that out. We also filmed a collab video on his, just kind of recapping the entire window. We are continuing to flood YouTube with AFC content. So we hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you guys in the next one. All right. As